Hi everyone. Hopefully everything is pretty self-explanatory because nobody came to the Zoom this morning, which is great. But I'm gonna make a video anyway. So all right. So let's get right into it. Let me show you what we're doing this week, and share with you. All right, we finished week 2 last week. I assume things are doing pretty all right. Then this week we're gonna get into cytology and tissues on the lecture end. I've seen the lab already. You've been working on that stuff, and I've seen in the pallets that's a challenge, and the tissues are a challenge. I think for me as well. When I started studying this originally, because in part it's like we're talking about organs that we haven't learned yet about, and so I think that's part of it. So that's why I actually approach it in the lecture sort of from a functional and a little bit backwards. And I will talk about the epithelial tissue and the connective tissue now, and then the muscle and nervous tissue comes into play when we talk about those tissues, because those are very specific. So in the lecture, and I think one of the things that is challenging is to be able to differentiate the different epithelium tissues and where are they located, and then that's often together with the function. So if you know what a tissue does, or what a cell type in epithelial does, for example, the flat cells, the squamous, are great for absorbing things, or the cube-shaped cells are great for liquidy things. When we get columnar shaped, we're more into having a little more abrasive stuff, like food that needs to be a little more protective. And then a single layer cells in the epithelial is mostly has a lot to do with absorption as well. So that's something, or a multiple layer has more to do with protection potentially. So if you look at it from a reverse engineering type, and you sort of get the function of the different things, and then learn the naming, and then and the other thing is, like in epithelial, know that it's linings and coverings, and so we know the skin is probably going to be epithelial. It lines the body, or it covers the body. Sorry, or a lining of the tubes, like the blood vessels, is probably epithelial because it's the lining of something. So that helps me a lot. We also then in epithelial have the glands, all the the sweat stuff and the sebaceous stuff. All of that is also epithelial tissue, as well as the glands like a liver or so. Has some of that as well. So just start putting it into those kind of, and that's why the books say fabric. It's a fabric. You use a little bit of this fabric, a little bit of that fabric, and you make an organ all together, and you sort of, print your organ, kind of thing, 3D printing or so, but just hang in there. It'll come together. Do as much studying as you can, and the lab is giving you a really good foundation to then, as we get to the tissues, really start understanding, or to the different organ systems, really start understanding and plugging it in. Once we get through the first few weeks, the class is much more palpable, and that makes, for most of us, including myself, makes more sense. That's why I work with muscles, because I can actually touch them and feel them and see them sometimes. Anyway, we got the tissues and the cytology, the cells, this week in our part of the session, and we're gonna have a couple of lectures. We already discussed sort of basic principle of the class. The way I build it up is we have lectures both over voiceover PowerPoint lectures, which don't load up easily here, and then also in class lectures. So pick which one you want. The in class is just one longer one, and the voiceover or sort of multiples. But it's really a pick which one works for you best kind of thing. And then after that, you gotta go through questionnaires. This is sort of the rocket symbol, is a quizzy type way we do things in Canvas, and the questionnaires are sort of in that format, because my tests are in that format, so then you know how it works. But the quizzes, by now you can take them over and over again, and there's no time limit, so just massage your material with them. Oh, look at that, my dog is having some, he wants to go walking. which we'll do soon. And also in those questions, I do have videos laid behind that you can utilize to answer it, understand it better, or you don't have to, don't think you have to watch every video in this course. I didn't put them all up, and then at some point I put up some of the ones in the questions, and people are like, oh, that's helpful. I'm like, oh, maybe I just pick and choose. You pick and choose. It's about the material. That's why still in this session, this is the last week, then we have a test. We should talk about the test, but the test is due on the September 5th. So we still, if we got questions next Monday, we can check in with each other about it. But what I do want you to be clear about is go and make sure you utilize this test review and know all the points on that. So you know the fundamentals of what I feel like you should really understand of these chapters from the lecturer's perspective. Of course, always make sure you know lecture and lab is separate, and we do try to be cohesive with it and make it a unit sort of experience, but they're separate. We do things separately a little bit. We're just, two different old teachers doing it for a while. So that's how it goes. But the good news is you get all our experiences. So we have the cell questions, the tissue questions, and then another understanding concept. I just want you to get a little bit of a feel for mitosis. I think it's here, and cell division, and then protein synthesis also, I think. So this is the last of these understanding concepts. So then you're released from that. So we get more into other things then. And I have a discussion of the food analysis that comes up today or this week. I'm going to go through all those today. I'm about halfway there now, so I'm finishing up. And then you guys, what I want you to do is go into the discussion forum and talk about, did you like it or did you not like it? Where was that? Share, reflect on the questions list. Oh, here. Oh, it's been a while. What did you learn about the foods you analyzed? A little reflection on that. You probably already have those thoughts in your head when you did it. And then what impact, if any, does this exercise have on your food choices? And I should probably say, was this boring or not? But we'll come up with some of those as well. So, but I think that was a pretty okay exercise. And then this week, we're going to go right slash into the kindergarten session. And we're going to make us a cell model of anything you find in your household. So what I want you to do is I want you to, where did I describe that? I want you to build a 3-dimensional cell model with food that you find in the household. Make something practical with it. And I want you to find something that represents each organelle, like little cell part that we talk about in the lesson. And I want you to make a ledger of what's what, and then what is that thing doing. So that's what I want you to do here. Oh, look here, this is what you do. All right. So please, and these are the cell parts that I want you to represent, but it's pretty much the one we're talking about. And then, you post it up and you talk about it. And, interestingly enough, people who do that, they will end up remembering this stuff so much easier. So that's actually why I went in. It was during the pandemic that I started it, going like, how can I make this better? And there you go. And this is one of those that stuck around because it does seem to be helpful to do this one. So spend a little time on that. Have a little fun. If you got kids, engage the kids if they want to be part of it. Again, I'm interested in your creativity, or really, when I talk about that, what works best for me to get this thing in my head. Not what's easiest, that might be an initial thought, but what's best for me to get it in my brain. That's really ultimately, and that could be the easiest. Well, actually, ultimately, it is the easiest because you're really trying to work with your head, but the goal is to keep it in that head. All right, enough said on that. And then we finish. This is the lab stuff that you're doing in lab this week. Look at that. You got stuff to do. And then we wrap it up with some questions Padlet thing. Again, if you don't sign in, Check in once in a while. If it says anonymous, put your name in. That way I know whom you give credit. I know the first week I gave everybody credit, but that doesn't mean I give everybody credit from now on. And so I'm trying to take these very seriously because these are very, very important parts for you guys to understand. The course. I need to be able to understand what you don't understand so we can work on that part. And of course, as always, reach out to me. I'm a text away, and I'll be in touch with you guys via text through this week anyway, especially since we're doing the, health challenge thing. All right. Have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.